I'm really excited to be here. So welcome everybody who's here now or who's watching later. I know a lot of people said they wanted to watch this later, so we'll have them come on later. But yes, this is our I'm calling it the Cheese Ball Show, but that nobody's going to get that because just for you watching, like we call each other Cheese Ball for some reason. And in case you don't know me, I'm Ella Majors with Sexy Fit Vegan. This is Stephanie. Stephanie is our head mindset specialist in our coaching program, the Plant Empowered Coaching Program. I just think the world of Stephanie, and she's making such a huge difference in the lives of so many of our clients. So thank you, Stephanie, for being here, for just being a part of our team. Like, you freaking rock.
Oh, well, Ella, this is how we started calling each other Cheese Ball. I couldn't gush more about just working with you and being a part of your team. And I feel like I'm the luckiest girl in the world to be in this position. So yeah.
Feeling is mutual. And Cheese Ball is with a Z because it's vegan cheese, obviously.
Yeah.
So just for you guys watching now, definitely, feel free to comment throughout. We're going to be checking the comments. If you have any questions that you want to bring up, we'll kind of just be really casual about this. Also, if you have an interest in speaking with myself about the coaching program, if what we're talking about today resonates with you and you want to learn more about working with us, then feel free in the comments to write the code word Plant Empowered, and I'll know to private message you and we can chat about that. Or if you want to just private message me, that's fine too, and we can discuss getting on a call to talk more about what you're going through and your struggles and what your needs are, and determine if this might be the solution for you. But today we are talking about curing the FITs, and we'll be a little bit PC with the FITs. It's breaking that Start Fresh Monday cycle, and Stephanie and I were just talking about it could be Start Fresh Monday, it could be Start Fresh tomorrow, it could be Start Fresh January 1st. It's that mentality of I've already screwed up today because I ate this bad food, so I might as well just continue eating bad and not work out and just let it all go and feel like crap the next day and feel guilty and go through that whole cycle. But I'll start fresh, and then what happens? We start fresh and we restrict because we're trying to be extra good to make up for the bad that we did the day before, and then we're so restrictive and that we're human, and willpower simply runs out if that's what we're trying to use, and we're hungry and we're and then we start it all over again, then we mess up again, and then we go back and forth. So that's my kind of definition of a case of the FITs. Ooh, I just said it. And just to kind of say where that came from, it was on a breakthrough call with a soon-to-be client who actually enrolled after we spoke, and she said, Ella, I just get a case of the FITs. And I was like, man, I never heard that before. That is so perfect. Like, what a perfect name for that. And since then, how when you hear something once, then you start to hear it all over. So since then, I've heard that same phrase several times from several different people, all as they were talking about enrolling in the program, because that's something that we all have in common, that we get those cases, and we need to figure out how to put an end to that cycle. Yeah. Do you have any other additions to the definition, Stephanie?
Yeah, no, I think that you covered it perfectly. It's really just deciding that you're going to throw it all out and, forget about it until whatever you decide your start date is again. And throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Another terrible saying, but
right.
But that's what, that's what it's about, taking, your one Snickers bar and turning it into a Snickers bar and a large pizza and, the endless cycle, a whole bag of Oreos and by the way, I'm not going to exercise because now I've eaten all of this, and you know what, I'll take the weekend too, and we'll just start again on Monday. So
yeah. Exactly. And we kind of laugh about it now because it's kind of funny, but when you're actually caught in that, it's actually not funny at all. It's really painful. And we've both been there. Like, I've been in that cycle, I think, for 15 years out of my adult life. And not to say I never still go there. Like, I'm human and it still happens, but we learned a lot of things, and what we're going to talk about today is kind of what causes it, what are the consequences, and how to start making the shifts necessary, the mindset shifts necessary to be able to turn that around and to be able to coach yourself through those situations when you get into them.
Right.
So I think that's the game plan for today. If you guys are on, again, if you're just hopping on, if you have questions, hey, Johnny, that's the owner of, did you meet Johnny?
Hey, Johnny, how are you?
The owner of Sobe Kick Gym in South Beach, my home away from home. We got Megan. Hey, Megan. Great to have you all with us. Gina votes no bangs, too. We're taking a vote. I'll maybe do a poll in the group after.
Yeah.
But okay.
How weird is it that now I've gotten kind of competitive? So I'm like, okay, yeah, one for my team.
Yeah, vote for your team. You're on the no bang team.
Yeah, I wanted to high five Gina. I'm like, yeah.
I love it. Okay. So let's get into the causes first. And you know, there's so many, so we're going to just do our best to keep things as simple as possible today, because I think we could talk for hours and hours about this topic. And I think so many people people were commenting like, I don't want to miss this because this is me. You know, this is so common, and it's something that is also can be really embarrassing, right? And when we get to that place of hiding when we're overeating, or hiding when we're, we don't want to see anybody the rest of the day because we've started eating and now we feel gross. And, I'm talking from my own personal experience, but also, of course, from all our clients sharing in our group and in our program. And I think one of the, major underlying causes when you're talking about hiding, shame always comes to mind for me. And I think that is one of the underlying, issues for so many of the things that we cover in the coaching program. What do you think, Stephanie?
Yeah, I think so too. And I think it is that hiding and that tendency for isolation that always points to shame, that there's something in us that is feeling that shame. And whether it's that you feel you're all alone in this cycle, or you're feeling that you have to do things perfectly, whatever it is, but that's really where you start to kind of think about what is the root cause of this cycle I'm in. If you're hiding, if you're isolating, shame is what it's pointing to.
Yes. Absolutely. And I think you hit the nail on the head of that. Perfectionism really ties into the whole shame thing. And I call myself a recovering perfectionist, because that urge to, be perfect and have that kind of tunnel vision. And I get lost. It's easy to get lost from looking at the big picture and looking into that. If this is not perfect, what I'm doing right now is not perfect. And what that leads is what I'm doing is not good enough. But ultimately, the shame, what it comes down to, is I'm not good enough. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, perfection is, I think it is such a pervasive problem, perfectionism is, but it is never attainable. And so when we strive for perfection, we are going to end up feeling like we're never enough, because it's never going to be enough. No matter what we do is never going to be enough when you're caught in that perfectionistic cycle. Yeah. It's completely impossible. So of course we end up feeling like we can't achieve, because we can't. It's not possible.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because, the topics that we cover in the program are, you go into it thinking it's about food, right? Yeah. And, because we're talking about overeating, that's talking about food. But once we get into it and actually start kind of figuring out the root causes and addressing those, it has absolutely nothing to do with food.
Right, right. And I think what's so amazing that we hear from our clients all the time is that once we start uncovering all of these issues and really dealing with them, what we find is that this isn't just one area of a person's life. This is absolutely invading every area of their lives. And so, of course, it's going to pop up in the food. And that is just one of the symptoms of really the core issue. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the other piece of that is, you know, when we're also talking about how to address it and how to start moving forward, there's some tools that are absolutely necessary to even start to tackle the shame issue and the perfectionism and the people pleasing. You know, they're all so connected. And, you know, identifying those issues first is, I think, the first step is saying, hey, I've got this thing going on. I've got shame. I'm hiding. I, you know, think I have to be perfect. I'm beating myself up. I've got this negative self-talk going on saying I'm not worth it. And then these are not necessarily thoughts we have consciously until we start to actually observe those thoughts. And that's when we move into the self-empowerment coaching system and the tools that we learn, that our clients learn in the program, to start to address the root causes. Because then once you start to address those, the food piece starts to take care of itself. It's just one example of how that shame and how that perfectionism is affecting your entire life in so many different areas. Foods just happens to be one, right? But it's very obvious because, you know, it's there, and you're, you know, and it's also causing the choices that you make are making changes to your body that you don't like. So there's that whole component to it too. You know what I mean?
Right. And I think that's why we get so focused on diets and diet plans and exercise plans, because honestly, they're the easy part. You know, you having to uncover all of this muck and take care of those shame issues, that's really, really hard. And it takes a lot of work and a lot of dedication. Whereas if you're handed a meal plan, you know, you can go to the grocery store and eat the meal plan, but the shame still raises its head. And if that raises its head through a bag of Oreos, that's what it does. I mean, that's just the nature of not dealing with those deep-seated issues, is it comes out in some other fashion. And often that's our eating.
Yeah. We talk about Band-Aids and quick fixes. And that's what, for those of us dealing with these issues, those meal plans, those exercise routines, you know, what we think we're searching for, those aren't answers. They're Band-Aids. They're quick fixes that are not really fixes. And what we do is, and what our clients have done and what I did and what you've done for so many years is just kind of recycle that over and over, because it seems like the answer. And why do you think it is that we can go so many years and keep trying meal plan after meal plan and diet after diet, having it not work and having us yo-yo right back, and, you know, losing control again, only to restrict and lose control again, and have this cycle go on for so many years? Like, we're smart, like, we're not stupid human beings. We're smart people.
Right.
Why does that happen, Stephanie?
I think it's because we try to think our way out of this, when really we need to be connecting every part of us and dealing with the feelings and getting vulnerable and able to do that. But I also think that we need people in our lives. A coach is the perfect example to point those things out and to help support through getting to those core issues. You know, I love your analogy of the Band-Aid and the surgery. You know, diets are the Band-Aid, dealing with the core issues are the surgery. So do you need a first aid kit, or do you need a surgeon? And I think that's a perfect example for this. You know, if you need to lose 5 pounds and you feel like you can take, you really don't have a whole lot of disordered eating and all of that, okay, 5 pounds and you don't have a lot of issues with your body, or, it's just 5 pounds. Okay, well, maybe an eating plan is going to work.
Yeah.
But if you keep coming around and you keep cycling year after year, and it's not now just about the weight, now it's about the way you feel about your body. It's the way you feel about, connecting with people, the way you feel about your eating habits, and that you feel out of control, you need a surgeon. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And that's what we do in the program. We are the surgeon / coaches. It's interesting too. I have so much respect for coaches. I know we're coaches, but I have coaches myself, because coaches need coaches too. And one of my coaches, it was actually a business coach, who I wanted him to tell me a specific, here's what you need to do. You need to put together a statistics spreadsheet and record these numbers. And then we can figure, I wanted some specific answers of how to solve the business problem or issue that I was having. And he told me, and I got on the phone with him. I'm like, tell me, you're the expert. He's like, oh, what affirmation are you saying every day? And I was like, really? Really? Can't you just give me an answer? Because that's not an answer. But it's mental. It's that if you do not have the mindset piece figured out, nothing else is going to matter, So yes, if you have a healthy mindset and totally healthy relationship with food, which some people are totally have and are fortunate to have, and they want to go do a meal plan, then that's fun for them. And they go do a meal plan and whatever. That's not what we're talking about here. And that's not what our clients need. So, and that's what I formed this group on, and we formed, this Empowered Vegan Life group on the basis that we need tools to empower ourselves, to feel power over our choices, not only our food choices, not only our exercise choices, but all the choices that we make, that we feel like we can consciously and mindfully make the choices that will serve us best, knowing that when we're making choices that serve us best, we're going to ultimately be making the choices that are going to serve our family best, the world best, and to have that mindset is so important. That's the whole self-care thing. And that again ties into this cycle that we get caught in as well.
Right. Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think, and I love your example with your coach. What we do with our clients is we help them to realize that they're the expert in their own life. They are the ones who have all of the answers, and they become empowered to make those choices for every single aspect of their life.
Yeah. Yes. So when we're talking about, we're going to try to keep this at about 30 minutes here. So let's move into some steps, some really solid steps people can make to start to make those shifts, those mental shifts that need to be made. And I think part of that is the vulnerability piece, because as Brene Brown says, the antidote for shame is vulnerability. And that's one of the huge pieces of this program. Not only is it about the video training and learning the tools and practicing the tools in your everyday life, but it's about being in this intimate, safe setting with other people going through the same process with similar challenges, where you have the safety to get vulnerable in a really powerful way, because you've got that support. So I think the vulnerability piece is huge, and then the self-coaching. What do you, if you had to kind of say, okay, here's where we should start for people that are listening right now, what do you think are the first steps?
Yeah, no, I think you hit the nail on the head. And when we're talking about strategies, I think in order to get out of this cycle, you have to start looking at every single time you put a bite in your mouth, every single time that you decide to exercise. You have to really flip the switch and say, this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity to show my body that I appreciate it and I love it. And so I'm going I'm going to nurture it with good nutrition. I'm going to nurture it with some exercise. And that really shifts things. And we talked a little bit about this last week, from the punishment mode of diet and extreme exercise to, this now I'm doing because I really love myself, and I'm really going to do things that I love about me. And the first step to that is not to feel it. It's to act on it. You act first. The feelings are going to come later. And so I think that's probably the first step. Another one that I think is important that is directly connected with the vulnerability piece is that we cannot shove our negative emotions away. I think it's Brene Brown that said, our negative emotions are our contract with life. And we have to feel them. We have to deal with them. We have to observe them. Like you say, Ella, with compassion and curiosity. And then we aren't making choices based on emotion. We then can make good choices based on our values and based on what our logic is, and rather than trying to numb and shove those emotions down and hide, go back into hiding, which is what the cycle is really all about, is hiding. And whether that's you're going to hide in a weekend binge, or you're going to hide in an afternoon that you've spent at work that was completely unfulfilling, and you're going to hide that night in a bag of Doritos. That was my favorite thing. Those are all not fulfilling your contract with life. You have to feel those negative emotions and then make better choices next time.
Yes, that's so important, because when we, everybody's about positivity, right? I'm certainly about positivity. And Facebook, like you look at Facebook and everybody's just so positive all the time. And then you look at that and you're like, wow, what's wrong with me that I'm feeling unmotivated today, or I just don't feel right. I don't feel good today. And, you start to think that there's something wrong with you. However, if we want to have the full human experience, that's part of the deal, having those negative emotions and then being okay with having those negative emotions, to feel like not like yourself. And I think I did a video yesterday. I just woke up and for no real, reason that I could identify, I just was kind of down. And, in the past, I'd be like, why are you down? What's wrong with you? Like, get yourself together, pull yourself together. There's nothing wrong. You should be grateful. There's so many things to be grateful. You can just go through this whole thing. Like, what's wrong with you that you're down, as opposed to saying, hey, I'm down, but okay, I'm down today, and I'm not going to act on being down. I'm going to go to my kickboxing class because I know that's helpful. I'm going to eat food that really fuels and energizes me because that's helpful, because I'm not trying to necessarily change that or fix it or numb it, but be okay with feeling it, knowing that it'll pass. It's going to pass.
Yeah. You're so right. I think we've created this society where positivity has kind of become a cult, it's not okay for things to suck. And, I know when I'm having those moments, I feel like I'm the only one who ever feels that way. And that's just simply not the case. And that's where that vulnerability is just so incredibly important. When I share that I'm going through something, I have those friends that say, oh, well, let's look on the bright side, which is nice, and fun. But my favorite friends are the ones who say, God, Stephanie, that really sucks. That really sucks. And then just let me wallow for a while. And that's the grace that we need to give ourselves. We need to give ourselves that grace to say, just like you said yesterday, it's okay not to be okay for a while. That is okay, because that's part of the human experience.
Exactly. I do want to throw out one client example. I won't use her name. I'll call her Georgia. I don't know why I like that name. But she shared this in a group. I think it was just the other week, where she said that she took back her control by pausing And she was talking about when she gets to that place where she's grabbing kind of mindlessly food, not because she's hungry, but because it's out of habit, or because she's feeling stressed out or emotional or whatever. And she said that she took back her control by pausing and asking the question, why do I want to eat this? So just that little, that little pause. And I talk about the power of the pause because it is so powerful. And then she said, so she'd ask herself, why do I want to eat this? And she'd answer it. And she'd say if she liked the answer that she gave, then she ate it. And if she didn't like the answer, she found something else to do, because she started to see meals as an opportunity, which is something that you really bring home, Stephanie, is talking about meals as an opportunity to give her body some love and appreciation through nutrition. So when she made a choice that she wasn't proud of, she gave herself a little limited time to analyze it, and then make a new choice. And she'd then take a pause and said, I'm done with that. And now I get to move on to the next opportunity, because every moment is really a new opportunity to make a new choice and to let the last choice that you made go and move forward from there. Yeah. So I just thought that was a really, really great way of looking at it. And I know that, that took her many months of work and practice and that rewiring that we do throughout 6 months straight of our program, because that's what it takes. It takes that long to get to this place. And it's we do it in such a baby step, such a structured, such a supportive way that it just it feels like we've just found this formula for the right, for the people that this fits. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. And, Georgia was one of those people who intellectualizes everything, and is somebody that's very much in control, and as so many of us are. And when we engage in that all or nothing thinking that keeps us in those efforts, we have to give that up the moment we decide that we haven't made the best choice. We have to analyze it, figure it out, and then give that up. And that's exactly what she's decided to do. And by stopping and asking herself why she wants to eat something, that's brilliant. Because if you like the answer, no matter what it is, great. Because you're the only one who decides what to put in your body. It is you completely in control.
Absolutely right. Awesome. Well, I feel like this has been very condensed, but I feel like I'm hoping, what my hope is for this is to just help open people up to a new way of looking at the situation and give you some tools, because it's not going to be fixed tomorrow. There's not like it's not a quick fix. It's the whole theme of what we do, but to start to just make those shifts and start to, kind of be able to start taking those pauses, to give yourself some time to look at the shifts, because we're just so wired for so many years to just keep going, moving forward, and not taking that pause. And that's absolutely critical in order to be able to make this type of a transformation in thinking, in our thought process, and ultimately in our actions, in our bodies, and in our lives.
Yeah. I'm not sure when we figured out that we didn't have time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that pause is so, so important.
Yeah.
You have all the time in the world.
That's right. Yeah. That is right. We talk about that too. Like, this is why we could just keep going, because I'm like, and that reminds me that we'll never arrive, we're never going to arrive at that perfect place. This is a journey. And I know that's like almost cliche at this point, but it really is. There's no arrival. There's no arriving at happiness, and then there's no more problems. As soon as you solve one problem, the next problem will be right there. So we might as well appreciate and learn and embrace every step along the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. All right, you guys. So we're gonna call it a night on this one. Please, in the group, if you have specific topics that you would like us to chat about here and like us to do events around, please put them in the group. You know, we are in there every day checking up on you guys and seeing what would be most helpful to you. So definitely reach out if you have specific topics you'd like us to cover. We're going to try to do these on a regular basis, maybe even weekly. Sometime around the 8 o'clock Wednesday is what we're going to shoot for. But if you have feedback, please, we want to know what you need. And again, if this stuff resonates with you and you're ready to really, you know, put the work in, because it does take work, and we do not sugarcoat that at all. Like, this is work, but the change that this makes in your life, like, it's for a lifetime. Like, it just blows my mind. Like, our clients blow my mind, like, every day. And yeah, we have 2 group calls every week. They have individual calls with you, Stephanie, and I run the group calls, and you're on them too. We have 2 every week, and it's just the sharing that gets done, and the shifts that are made every single week. It just makes it makes my life. It makes it worth getting up in the morning, honestly. Like, it's exciting to get up in the morning, and I think about the changes that are taking place. And there's ups and downs, you know, this is not just a perfect up, you know, we're not gliding along here, but it's cool, right? It's just cool. I don't know what else to say about it.
Yeah, it is so amazing. And every week there are, almost daily, there are tears of joy, just because people make such amazing shifts to a life they really have been imagining. And it's humbling and amazing to be a part of it.
Yes, totally. So yes, again, if this resonates with you and you do want to have a good discussion, feel free to private message me. Yeah, reach out. I make myself as accessible as humanly possible, as does Stephanie. So we're both here for all of you. And yeah, that'll do it for tonight. Thanks, Stephanie. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Haley, Gina, Laurie, all of you guys, you rock, and we'll see you back in the group.
Yeah. See you later.
All right. Night, guys.
Night.